Well, got done with finals this morning and came back home, and the weather was crappy, so I decided it was time to start tearing down this gravity box. So the further down I take it, the more I find wrong with it, but it still ain't nothing that can't be fixed fairly easily. I have concluded, though, them two panels on the far side on either side of the door, I'm probably going to cut out and have remade, because I could scab a band-aid on them to cover up the rust, but it would kind of compromise the strength of the, or it wouldn't be as strong as it would be if I just replaced the panels. And there's a company Dad works with that has they specialize in sheet metal fabrication and crap, so they got the brakes and the shears and you name it, they can bend it or form it or make it or whatever. So we've had to make combine parts for us before too. I'm also gonna have to do some cutting and fixing on the frame of this thing, because Dad and I got to looking at it, and I don't know what led to the particular whatever the heck happened, but I don't know if the frame twisted or what, but this has been added. This big channel was part of the original frame. Somebody added this. They cut the big channel here and put in this small channel, so I'm gonna cut the big channel out like completely and put a new piece in so it's right. This, I'm gonna cut the small channel out of there. This has been all scabbed or broken scabbed, so I don't know. We'll have to talk to Schrader and see what their capabilities of bending are, but I may cut that bow out of there and have them refab it, because this piece somebody welded in, because originally it should have been one formed piece just like this all the way across. So that's what's going on with the frame. The sides are still solid, they just need some straightening and what you'd expect out of unsupported sheet metal like this. I found when I got it cleaned out, the trough here's got a rust hole in it right there, so I'll probably cut this piece out, have it reformed, and weld a new piece back in there. And the part that sucks about all this is they use these self-locking nuts that are really, really short. And luckily I can get a hold of them alright in most cases. Come on out of there, you little prick. Alright. What the heck? Alright, quit being difficult. There it goes. So, needless to say, when it goes back together, it's not going to get these style. Well, I don't even think you can get this style of nut anymore, because I've never seen them. But it's probably just going to get bolts and nuts and lock washers. door panel off. Bend that back out straight. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I could probably go in there with a plasma and take 3 inches or so out of there and lay a new piece in and stitch weld it, but it wouldn't have the strength to it that one solid piece would have. So it would be easier just to have them. And actually, that wouldn't be hard because it's the only bend on it is this piece here at the top. Everything else is just flat, so it'd be 2 bends in the brake and a few hits with a shear, and they could make that whole piece, and I can just slap it in there, weld it all back together, and wham bam, thank you Sam, there we go. Let go. Now this one's gonna be different. Well, this panel decided to be a little prick. All the bolts in the center came out fine, but the 2 out on the corners were sunk down into the sheet metal, and I couldn't get a hold of them with a ratchet. Couldn't get them to break off with the air chisel, so I ended up having to go on the bottom and blow the head of the bolt off to avoid hurting the side panels. Them ones are a little heavy. Ladybug. Can't believe you're still alive after the thing was sitting outside. What the heck? Oh, okay. Well, so far it looks like every one of the corners has a break in it. That one's broke right there. That one's cracked there and there. Well, I guess the next step is going to be to get the grain gate off of there. Which, this one, I should just be able to blow off. Except for those. Those are going to have to come out. Air chisel ain't going to touch a 3/8 bolt. The only thing I can't figure out is where the heck these pieces go. Because they got green paint on them, so they obviously belong with the wagon. But as to what exactly they are, I have no clue. Unless they were something for mounting it to the gear, which... I guess. Yeah, I bet that's what this is. Because I bet that was on there like that. This sat on the gear, and then this chain went around. So that's what that was. And then that's just a piece of angle, so I'll bet one of these corners was physically bolted to the gear. They had one of them angles on, possibly. What's the front? What's on the front? Yeah, I bet there was two more, or I bet there was one of these corners, most likely this one, was actually bolted to the gear. They had that other piece of angle iron right there just sitting on the gear with that one. And then they had that piece with the chain on that back corner with the chain just going around the gear. Because very rarely is a box ever fastened, or a hay rack or whatever you're putting on a running gear, is it ever actually physically bolted on all four corners because you want it to flex. So, okay. Now I know what those are. And I was going to get the grain gate off. Whoops. My bad. When you're working on this older equipment, you realize kind of just how backwards we might have gone in some ways. Because you take this old hardware like this that's nasty, rusty, you can't hardly even see hardly see the threads on it anymore until there's threads there. You get on it with a ratchet or a wrench or something, and generally it'll come right off with not even break the bolt. Shoot, you let new hardware sit outside for a year, you gotta heat and beat just to get it apart. But this was also back in the days when America made our own steel, and now it all comes out of China. Some of it still comes out of Canada, which ain't a bad deal, because we've always gotten Canadian steel, but the vast majority of it is Chinese, and it's just not the same. You could even tell when if you have to weld on older steel, you clean the rust off of that and get it shined back up, and old steel welds so much better than new steel. There's not as much shit in it, so you don't get all the slag and crap while you're welding. But this country's decided it's better to settle for cheap instead of shooting for quality, so is what it is. Ain't nothing a little guy can do about it anymore, because there's not enough people like us, and there's too many people that just don't care anymore. Alrighty, those ought to just bust off with the air chisel, hopefully. So much easier. No wonder that gate didn't move. Got it. Oh crap, that sucker's heavy. I'm thinking, since this gear rack's Parker and it's Parker orange, I'm thinking, because the gate's still green, I'm thinking at some point the gear rack got busted off of this thing, and they had a Parker wagon or a Parker dealer close they get parts from, and they just took a Parker gear rack and welded it on here, because these welds don't match what's on the box either. Not that it's a big deal. You have to be some serious correct police to be able to point that out, and you shoot it all green, ain't nobody gonna know the difference anyway. But I will probably because this normally they have a blind tooth on either side of the gear rack, so that when you run the door up and down, you can't run it past the gear on your hand wheel, and this doesn't have that. So I think I'm going to go in and weld one of these teeth shut, because that was why it was stuck up, is it wouldn't engage the gear anymore. So I'm going to weld one of these teeth shut to make sure, so that you can't open it too far. Well, there it is, all tore down. Pretty much come to the conclusion that best course of action for fixing this is just going to be to put a whole new floor in it, because it's rusted out along here on both sides, right down in the channel. Down both seams on either side of this, it's rusting bad enough it's starting to lift this plate off of this plate, and it's warping it, and two, it's rusting out this piece. Plus somebody's already welded this patch in here, and then all along right here there's a frame member underneath right there that this is welded to. It's bent, and then it's got rust holes in it. There's rust holes along that frame member. It's separating right here. There's rust holes here. There's a rust hole there. Crack there. So that's pretty much where we're at. Is I'm just going to cut all the sheet metal off of the frame. Plus, it'll also make it a whole lot easier to fix the frame, not having any of this crap on here to work around. But I don't think that's anything I'm going to get into today, because that's going to be one heck of a project. Because I got to cut this piece off and then flip the whole box over so I can cut on the welds from the bottom side. Then get all that off there. We can get new plates bent up for it. While they're doing that, I can get the frame fixed and then get all the plates back, weld it all back together. probably shoot a coat of cheapo primer on it just to keep it from getting too nasty. Slap the sides back on, get the auger put on it, and run it for this year, and then this summer tear it all back down, blast it, and paint it. So this is going to be the first part of this project. Probably work on it more over break here, but I don't want to get too involved with it to where I can't get it out of the garage. We're supposed to have good weather for the next 3 or 4 days, so I plan on using that to cut fence rows. So I'll bring this back up here when the weather turns to crap again. I think it's supposed to, we got chances of rain Sunday or Monday, I can't remember. So I guess that's it for now, and we will catch you guys on the next one.